right now, but I agree. And Lee's a great guy. I used to work with Lee, and I love Lee. He's spectacular.
Yeah,
and,
he's good.
Yeah, and he's funny. I mean, he's a brilliantly talented guy. But I believe also that, you know, revolution is coming. I don't think it's necessarily going to be any kind of an armed revolution, but I think a political. In fact, I think we've been at that point since 2008. I think the election of 2008 was an election in which we thought we were getting a revolutionary. Turned out we didn't. But, you know, that's what we hoped for, and I think then people voted for Trump thinking he was a revolutionary. I think we're still in that revolutionary moment. Mark, thank you for the call. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Tom Hartman program, taking your year-end calls. Mark Taylor-Canfield in Seattle. Hey, Mark, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom, best wishes to you and your family for the new year.
Thank you. Back at you, Mark.
It's always a pleasure hearing the cogent, intelligent dialogue on this program, which is a far cry from what I get in most media. But
thank you.
I wanted to let you know I'm putting together a video for my news report over at YouTube, the MTC Report. And it's about whether a sitting president can be indicted or charged with a crime. It's a follow-up to my piece at Daily Kos, and I wanted to call your attention to two articles by Charlie Savage at the New York Times. One is, can President Trump pardon himself? So that's a very interesting read. Charlie Savage is doing real journalism over there at the New York Times.
Yeah, but there's a simple answer to that question. If his pardoning himself in any way has to do with avoiding impeachment, the Constitution prohibits him from doing that.
It's also pretty much a common practice in all courts that, you know, you cannot judge yourself in your own case.
Correct.
So that would go against all.
Correct. Although the presidential pardon power is not a Article III power. It's not a judicial power. It's an Article II power. It's a presidential power. So, you know, it may or may not, that long-held legal principle, I suspect that the Trump people would challenge on that basis. But the fact that the pardon power in the Constitution explicitly in the Constitution says except in cases of impeachment, you know, that I think gives us. But anyhow, cool. Okay, Mark.
Well, Georgetown University has a paper out, and it's on this issue, and it's really interesting because Professor Scott Howe says that there is no immunity as a matter of federal law. It's actually federal common law. So if there's no immunity in the U.S. Constitution for the sitting president, then actually, according to Professor Howe, and this is a paper put together by Susan Lowe Block for Georgetown University Law School, if it's true that there's no constitutional prohibition on indicting a standing president, then that means that this immunity can actually be changed by Congress. Congress could actually, according to Professor Scott Howe, it could actually restrict the scope of that immunity. It could eliminate the immunity entirely, or it could expand its usage. And that is under the interpretation by Professor Howe that there is no prohibition in the United States Constitution which creates temporary immunity for a sitting president. And this came up because of the Clinton versus Jones case during the presidency of Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. So these special prosecutors have a lot of power of discretion. Leon Jaworski back in the Watergate era, Ken Starr during the Clinton presidency, and now Robert Mueller could, if they wanted to, actually call for indictment. But I think in the past it's been considered practice and policy not to do that, but it is not. There is no prohibition on it.
Yeah, sovereign immunity or the immunity of sovereigns was something that I think the founders would have found repulsive. Sovereign immunity perhaps for the government, but not the immunity of sovereigns, which is old British common law. And, yeah, makes sense to me. Mark, I got to move along, but thanks for the heads up on those things. And good luck with your series and your news reports.